What's up, guys? Welcome back to Peak Performance Engineering. I'm Brandon, and today on our Deathkart project, our new alternator finally came in along with the new bolt kit from ICT Billet. So we're going to go ahead and get these put back on, and then later, hopefully, take this thing for a drive. A long, overdue drive. So if you guys have to do an alternator replacement on your L83 or even L86 5.3 liter, 6.2 liter, I would actually go on Amazon because I called around the local auto parts stores to buy this thing and they wanted about $300 plus like a $70 core charge for a new alternator. But I just literally hopped on Amazon and it was like $200, no core charge to deal with. Plus, you know, it's Amazon, easy returns, all that good stuff, and it came pretty quick. So, yeah, too bad. I always like to support the local guys if I can, but, you know, hey, that's a big difference in price. And then this is that bolt kit from ICT Billet. So this was about $15. Again, I grabbed it on Amazon. So now we can fix the bolt that I ended up cutting. So you can see, yeah, I cut off that little bit too much. So anyway, putting it on is just going to be the reversal of removal that I already showed you guys in the other video, so I won't even film it. I'm just going to get this popped on, and that was sure a lot easier than taking it off. So now we're just ready to rock. I got the battery connected. Now we just got to get these two cars out of the garage. But it's about 7:20 in the morning, so I can't really start this thing up and wake up all the neighbors just yet. So we'll probably give it a few hours and get all this stuff moved around, get the Deathkart flipped around off of its caster mover things, and then we are going for a ride. So let me tell you guys what happened today. So I just got back from a car show with the Deathkart. That's right. Seems like we have almost all of the drivability issues are solved now with the car. Some guy, some awesome dude, happened to see one of my other videos where I was removing this alternator, and he was kind enough to explain to me that actually these newer LT motors, the alternator doesn't run at all times, like on older cars, right? So I guess it, you know, whenever the battery needs some extra charge, it gives it to it, and then it kind of shuts off. So this whole time, I've been trying to replace this alternator for no good reason. So I ended up having to take off the new alternator after I got it on, swap back out the old original alternator, and so that problem was not a problem at all, and it's solved, right? That's great. Now, the other thing we did last time, right, was we removed the thermostat. And so when I drove it today, it's about 85 degrees outside today, and the car never got over about 170 was the most that I saw. And then once that was kind of like stopped, but just cruising, it stayed about 160. So I think we're gonna leave it, at least for now. Everything seems fine. My fans are still wired on all the time. So I do want to change that eventually, but right now it's still working. I also had an issue today with the power button. Actually, like the power to the whole car button, it just ended up breaking. So I don't know, cheap button, so I need to get a new button for that. As a quick fix, I ended up just pulling the connector off, and I put that connector onto the headlight switch. So right now the headlight switch actually starts the car, so that's fine. But guys, the car drove amazing. I mean, everything's just really good. The steering's good, the brakes are good, the engine seems like it's running really well. I couldn't get on it or anything. One thing that I found out that's kind of important is we have wheel spacers on these wheels because, you know, the lug pattern doesn't actually fit the car. So, and they're just some cheap ones off Amazon, like $50 a pair, $100. When I was actually airing the tires up, I found out that at least two or three of them, I can see hairline cracks in the aluminum spacer. So pretty sketchy. So I'm gonna actually order some quality, you know, spacers because that's safety, you know, a safety item like that. I don't want to have a freaking wheel fall off while we're driving on the road, right? So we'll spend the money, you know, it'll probably be double the price, maybe $100 a pair instead of $50, but I think it's money well spent, you know, to try to be safe, right? So no one wants to actually die in the Deathkart. All right, fellas, so just an update on where we're at. So right now I have on order a new power button because this button right here ended up just kind of failing in the, you know, pushed in position, but it doesn't actually work. So like I was telling you guys, for now I just have this connector kind of moved over here, so this is actually starting the car. Also, we had that issue that's been happening for the last 6 months where you have to kind of hit the starter button like 20 times for it to work. We just get a click. So trying to diagnose that, I ended up just jumping. I kind of removed the connector, tried just jumping the wires to see if there was a problem with this switch. That didn't help. I know it's not the clutch switch because that's still the OEM switch, and power actually goes from the clutch switch to the starter button. So I know power is getting to the power switch. And then I also ended up replacing the relay, thinking, man, it has to be maybe a bad relay because it was an original relay from the Solstice. So anyway, I bought a brand new 30 amp relay. That didn't fix it. So I started thinking, okay, what did we do that could have caused an issue? And I remembered that when we got our starter, we did not have the correct factory like GM connector for it to work. So I ended up just kind of putting a spade connector on the end of this terminal. I don't know if you can kind of see it too well, but so I ended up putting a spade terminal and kind of slid it onto the little tab or whatever that was in there. And that worked for about a year. And then it was earlier this year we started getting the clicking. So what I did was I was able to reach my hand with the exhaust manifold still in here, and I was able to kind of push it a little bit, and that solved the issue. I had about 3 or 4 good starts without that problem. So good rule of thumb, don't do anything janky like that. You know, take the time and just order the right connector. So I ended up finding on Amazon, they sold the connector for like $20, which kills me because it's so expensive for a stupid connector. If I lived closer to a junkyard, I could just go to a junkyard, you know, and pick that up for like $1 or free. But anyway, it is what it is. So I'm going to get this cut off when that new connector comes tomorrow. Then we'll have a factory, you know, good click-in OEM connector for this thing, and that problem should be solved. By the way, it was super simple to get this exhaust manifold off. Having a V-band right there makes it super awesome. Just a V-band and 5 bolts, and then this whole Camaro exhaust manifold fell right off. So super stoked about that, but we'll get that repaired. And then this thing, guys, should be ready for the weekend. The only other thing I'm waiting on that comes tomorrow is new wheel adapters. So I ended up finding a company that had a little bit better quality forged aluminum wheel adapters. So hopefully they don't crack immediately like these ones did. And they're just 1-inch, you know, wheel adapter spacers. So hopefully we're good. While I have this wheel off, I may also end up painting the calipers red with like that duplicolor kit. So we'll see how much time I have, but I'm going to try to pop these off tomorrow, paint the calipers, swap the adapters out, and then just put the wheels back on, let it dry for a day, and then we should be rocking. 3, 2, 1, ignition. All right, guys, it's another day. Let me catch you up to what I've been working on today, a little bit of stuff off camera, and then let me show you what I'm about to do. All right, so we had our new switch come in from Amazon, our new power button switch, so now this works. That was easy peasy. And then we also had that OEM connector come in for the starter, so I was able to get that all kind of like cut out the old, you know, crappy connector. Just, you know, kind of quickly wired that in. Nothing to really see. Just pop the manifold back on, all that good stuff. I did start the car 3 times, and every time so far starts right up, no more clicking. So I think we fixed that issue. We should be good to go. And then the final thing now is I just got some new wheel adapters / 1-inch spacers that came in the mail. So I got to get these pulled out, and then hopefully these will work. Have a look here. So there was at least 2 or 3 of these where they've already cracked. Now we've probably got 50 miles maybe on these adapters. So I'm not sure why they cracked, why they failed. I mean, I do know why. They're, you know, just cheap, crappy $70 for all 4 spacers. But, you know, I'm not sure. Maybe I over-torqued them, which I'm sure I torqued them as hard as I possibly could because I didn't want my wheel to fall off, but pretty sketchy. So I'm glad we're going to be swapping those out. These ones I made sure had really good reviews. They are forged like, I don't know, T60, 61 aluminum. So hopefully they hold up a lot better. We'll see. All right, so here's just what the box looks like. So forged wheel spacers, T60, 61 aluminum. So they look pretty good. Hopefully they don't crack like the other ones. They are black anodized, so that's cool. So yeah, let's bolt these on. In case you guys might be wondering why we're actually using adapters or, you know, / spacers. The reason why is the Solstice has a pretty weird bolt pattern of 5x110. So there's not a lot of choices for like aftermarket wheels, at least not cheap. So we ended up finding these wheels and tires locally. I think we got all 4 for like $300 with the tires, and they're like Pirelli P0 Scorpions with awesome tread. So we got a great deal, but they're 5x4.5, which is really popular. So this is just simply a 5x110. to 5x4.5 spacer. And I think 1 inch is like the shallowest they make. You know, we didn't really need to space them out that much. We just wanted to be able to adapt to the different wheels. Now, eventually, we probably will change this setup, but this is what we got for now. So we're just going to try to make it work. Also, one thing to point out, the reason why I wanted these is they do have grade 12.9 studs, so should be stronger than stock. I think 10.9 is stock, so hopefully, you know, like I said, hopefully these are beefier. Making progress, putting these kids to work. All right, let me get you guys in here for a little close-up. So look at this garbage wheel spacer, man. Like, totally just cracked. I'm sure that's how they all are. They just cracked wherever this weakest point was, so pretty sketchy. I mean, it's still solid. It's not coming off, but super sketchy, right? And guys, here's the name of this company. So avoid these guys at all costs. ECCPP. They are on Amazon. Definitely. Obviously, this is not, I don't think this would be a forged material cracking like that. But regardless, even if it is, it cracked, right? And it cracked not just once, but I want to say at least 2 of them, if not 3 of them. When I did a quick walk around, we might find that all 4 of them are. So I'll give you a little summary at the end. But let's pop these off, get the new ones on. And the new ones even come with Loctite, which is cool. I was trying to see the name of the brand. But anyway, I got these things on, they got 2-year warranty. Well, that's better than the ones I got. So anyway, I got these on Amazon too. They were like, I don't know, around $100. So here's the same spacer I was just showing you guys on the front, and it is still one piece. I mean, it is just barely holding on, right? That kind of last couple millimeters, and then this thing would literally be falling into 2 pieces. So pretty sketchy. What do you expect? All right, so one important point when you're putting on wheel adapters like this that's important. These are the old lug nuts that I took off these wheel adapters, and probably one reason why these crack is this machined lip down in here is machined further in. So that means there's less meat on this side. This is probably why they cracked. So these are the lug nuts that would sit in here and sit flush, right? Now, they won't work with the new wheel adapter because the new wheel adapter is not machined as deeply. And so to have it sit flush, you need to have a shorter little lug nut. Otherwise, like, I actually tried to reuse this lug nut at first, and this was sticking out, you know, probably by that much. So using their new lug nut, you know, because it's not machined as deep, which also makes it safer, right? There's more meat on here. So the new wheel spacer, wheel adapter, hopefully shouldn't crack. So that's one cool thing. So not all wheel adapters are created equal, right? Companies are machining, you know, different depths. And so obviously if they machine it less, it's going to be a little bit safer. Awesome. All right, guys, so we got the new wheel adapter on, and it's totally flush. There's going to be no issues bolting on the wheel. But I was just looking, and I was thinking, man, while we got this wheel off, we might as well get the Duplicolor brake caliper paint kit and go ahead and just, you know, kind of brush on some paint on this front and back, just make it look a little bit sweeter. So I think me and Cam are going to take a trip to the zone, Auto Zone. Yeah. We'll get this one blasted off, we'll get this swapped out, and then, yeah, we'll probably go at least get these painted tonight. Actually, honestly, why we can't just paint them, put the wheels back on, then I can slide it, do the other side, paint it. All right, so driver's side rear doesn't look like it had any cracking, so yeah, so this one passes the test.
This is a good one.
All right, fellas, well, it looks like this red caliper paint is not going to happen, well, today or tomorrow. So I called 2 O'Reillys, 1 AutoZone. None of them have that kit in stock, and I don't think I have an Advanced Auto Parts that's very close, at least, you know, not close enough for me to want to drive right now at 8 o'clock at night. So we will wait. We'll probably just do this over winter time. I'll order a kit offline, and we'll do it at a later date. All right, guys, so the front passenger side, this one's been done. That original wheel spacer adapter was not cracked. So basically this one was not cracked. This one was not cracked. Front driver was severely cracked, and the back passenger is also cracked. It's kind of hard to see, but this one's definitely not as severely cracked. I was about to pull that off. But, yep, she's cracked also. So 2 out of 4. I guess that ain't half bad, right? Probably not. No, it's not good at all. So last night, guys, me and my daughter ended up taking the Deathkart out for a little ride. Actually, there was a car show, but it kind of was ending. It was pretty late, about 8 o'clock. It's been raining a lot, so luckily the rain stopped. We decided to run out there real quick. 2 issues though. I did about probably 10 starts with that new connector. Everything's been fine. And then sure enough, when we were trying to leave the car show, it started clicking again. So what I'm wondering is if I didn't really make a great connection. I know it's connected at the starter really well with that new connector, but then where that wire comes around and kind of connected into this other wire that goes to the relay, I'm wondering if I didn't get a good connection. I should have soldered it. It came with like one of those little butt connector, you know, with heat shrink tubing, and I used that, but I'm wondering if I should have soldered it. So I might end up kind of redoing that wire, probably even from the inside, because I noticed the wire from the relay down is not that thick gauge of wire. So I wonder if that's the problem too, if it's causing some resistance. So I may just kind of pull the relay out, snip the wire, put in a thicker wire, and then solder it all, and then hopefully that'll fix all the issues. And then one other issue that sprung up, I didn't even know until I was just sitting here looking at the car last night, and I noticed there was some leaking action happening out of this fitting here for the brake line that's going into this ABS module. So I got some line wrenches this morning from Harbor Freight, so I'm going to try to just tighten this. I'm not sure like why the heck it's leaking. We've never even really messed with this other than maybe unbolting it to kind of move it a little bit, but I don't know if that messed it up. But anyway, hopefully that'll be fixed. All right, guys, so one final update on this Deathkart, and then I'm going to end this video here. But what happened yesterday was we took this thing out for a little rip, and we ended up breaking down and almost needed a tow truck. So I ended up losing power completely. Seems like it was this switch. Again, even though this is a brand new power switch. So that switch, you know, get it off Amazon, it's cheap, whatever. So we're going to look for a replacement switch. But I was able to take the connector, put it back on the headlight power, and the car powered back up and stuff. But the battery was still kind of dead. Because kind of the weird thing was after we lost power, I switched it, and then we were getting kind of a crank, no start condition. So I'm wondering if the battery was so dead that the computer didn't have enough juice. So that makes me think, okay, is the alternator still bad? Even though we went through that whole hassle of replacing it, putting it back, I don't know. So the other issue I'm having is it's still clicking with the starter. So I did this morning try to replace, we had a little length of wire that was kind of some skinny gauge wire, and I wasn't really happy with that. So I replaced it. So now it's got a nice fat wire from the relay going all the way into the starter, you know, switch or whatever. So that should be fine. I replaced all that, still clicks. So now the only thing I'm thinking it can possibly be is the starter. So I just ordered a new starter off Amazon. It'll be here in a couple days. I'm just going to try swapping it. It's really easy to replace it because otherwise the relay is new. We determined that switch was working fine, you know, for the like clutch switch or the push button switch. So yeah, that's all I can think. I don't see any other issues. I'm just wondering, back when we originally first started doing the engine swap, we were having an issue where the input shaft on the transmission was actually hitting the back of the engine. And so I think maybe during that time, it was really, really, really hard for the starter to turn the motor over. And maybe that damaged, you know, the solenoid or the brushes in the starter, something, where shortly later, a few months later after that, now we're getting this failure issue. So that's my guess. I don't know if it's true, but we'll find out in a few days. But that's going to be it for this one. I'm going to go ahead and end this whole long video. So that's going to be it, guys. Again, hopefully we'll have some better footage next time, being able to drive this thing around. I was able to floor it a few times. It does definitely need like to be dyno tuned. I mean, it runs and drives pretty well. It doesn't stall out or anything, but you can tell it needs to be cleaned up a little bit in the tune. But you know, sounds awesome. It drives great. The brakes are good. The little brake leak that we did have that I tightened, that did go away. So that's good news at least. So I think we're getting there. A few little things to chase, and then hopefully we'll be able to put some real miles on it for the rest of the summer. So we'll see you guys soon. Check back, click the like and subscribe button, check out some other videos, and we'll see you guys later.